Okay, recording this video after close of trade Tuesday, 21st of January 2014. What a day. Hope you make good money today. Some days I'm like super bored. Today was exciting, start to finish. There was all kinds of stuff going on. Lot to talk about in this video. And glad to say the videos are back up on the website. Ran out of bandwidth, and that's why you probably had to go to YouTube to watch the latest video. I don't know, just too many visitors to the site, eating up my bandwidth. Cost me a little bit, but you know, in the whole scheme of things, it's small potatoes. But anyway, let's talk about the Emini today. First of all, you know, yesterday we were shut, and then overnight they did this unbelievable ramp. I mean, the gall of these people to do it. I wondered what you thought when you saw the open today. Kind of switched on your charts, and you're like, we're back up in the 40s. This is unbelievable. What's kind of going on? Did you think, hooray, we're going up? You know, they just took the opportunity overnight to, you know, kind of jump on board because this thing's going like an express train to the moon? Or what did you think? I mean, I looked at it and I thought, those cheeky buggers, you know, they use a typical, like, you know, no one's around, we've got a storm in New York, we've got people on vacation. They use that kind of downtime, you know, low liquidity to just ramp the thing up, and then as soon as, you know, the market opened, we tanked. It was unbelievable. Anyway, so it was only 1.1 million contracts traded, not a huge amount, I suppose. I mean, at the moment I'm reading stories where New Yorkers are being told to stay home because of this kind of foot of snow they're going to get. Tomorrow could be a little bit rough in terms of volume, but we're at an absolutely critical level. Absolutely critical. The low of today is the number, so which is 26. There we go, 1826. I mean, it was the number 2 weeks ago that we just kept on bouncing around and around, and then we got to 1840. We cracked through that, and so we're back down. The low at 26, that's it. If that goes tomorrow, the next day, bombs away. We are heading down. And the reason for it is cyclical support on the daily chart of the E-mini. If you look at the day and the night session, it's actually right underneath today's lows. So a break through this support will mean that we're rolling over into downtrend on the daily chart. We've still got to put in our pullback to end of trend on the weekly charts and all of those things, but we've been messing around with this 50 level up here. This was Christmas time. We came back into it a couple of days ago, and now we're into it again. It's like a triple top, and today we saw real weakness, and I think all we've done is bounced up in order to get everybody kind of confused. So let me run through the charts and show you what I'm seeing. First of all, you know, the signals on the better indicators, they were just almost picture perfect today. So this was the open. The ramp overnight. So this is yesterday's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Nothing going on. The market was shut pretty much all of the day. But anyway, overnight, here they ramped it. You know, the cheeky buggers up to 40s. Up here, pullback to end of trend, pre-open, whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of coming. Now, ideally, we would have been nice to see an exhaustion pattern after the full liquidity of the day. I say 3 out of 4 times. That's kind of, you know, what we'll get. This one we didn't get that, but we got plenty of opportunities to know that what to do at this point. So this is pullback to end of trend on the 1500 tip bar chart. It was pullback to end of trend on the 500. Let me just spin this around. So here we go, 500 tip bar chart, all the exhaustion patterns, pre-open, pullback to end of trend, blue professional bars up here, first bearish divergence and a Rambo pattern. So we've exhausted ourselves. We showed a sign of weakness right by the 0 line, goes to a flush pattern, bang, end of trend. And then these are the testing up bars that you need to just check and be sure, you know, that the market's kind of rolling over. The first little spike up, blue professional bars up here, testing up, exact high, double top going on there, fails, and that's professionals on that little ramp kind of getting out. We know it's weak because we've gone through exhaustion, selling at this point here, and we bounced off Rambo channel, bottom of the channel. Rambo to Rambo channel, come back, amateur bars here, very weak buying going on, and then bang, blue professional bar, they sell it down. On the 1500, it's exactly the same thing kind of going on. So we put in our pullback to end of trend, all the blue professional bars heading into those highs. That's the little ramp back up to 44 at the double top. Blue professional up bar gets broken, blue professional down bar, and this little test back up, amateur up bars at this point. That was actually amateur up bars there and there, showing the weak buying right on the 0 line here. And then as soon as we crash through cyclical support, blue professional bar through cyclical support, that's falling through the ice. So there we go, we're on our way. Bang, beautiful move. This is the exhaustion selling, showing the strength of the selling, getting this move going, and then it comes in again on the left shoulder over here, pullback to end of trend. Because this is happening on pullback to end of trend, not on this little kind of left shoulder here, because we've done that, I say wait to the second cyclical turn after end of trend, bang, marks the low of the day, we race away to the upside. So beautiful little moves, pull back to end of trend with, you know, kind of blue professional bars, you know, showing us what to do. The other thing that was kind of a beauty today, so I talk about trend moves being equivalent to cycle moves in the higher time frames. Sometimes I'm looking at the 500 with the higher time frame being the 4,500 tip bar chart, so that's 2 time frames up, so that's kind of the big picture. With the 1,500 tip bar chart, 2 time frames up is the 13,500 tip bar chart, and there we go, the high and the low of today, cyclical resistance, cyclical support. Cyclical resistance up here was pullback to end of trend, a trend move on this, the lower time frame, syncing up with a cycle move on the higher time frame. A cycle move on the higher time frame syncing up with a cyclical move on the lower time frame. So plenty of opportunity to see that as a reversal point. It kicked back quite a long way, and that's what I'm kind of going to talk about kind of going forward. So beautiful kind of trades kind of shorting here. There was opportunities to get short on the breakdown and then to re-enter at this point here the blue professional bars into the pullback level, and this thing just tanked. The way it fell through that support level was unbelievable. So great opportunities kind of getting short into this move and into this move. So I pulled out 5 on the first and 4 on the second, and had a half-point loss on a previous trade and a couple of trades that were break even. So excellent day for me, and it should have been a good day for you if using the better indicators. This was kind of a picture perfect type day. Now, where are we on this one? 13,500 tip bar chart I think is pretty important to understand. So we bounced off, we had this big sell-off a few days ago, we bounced back, pull back to dirty end of trend, and this is this level up here at the kind of 45s, mid 40s, where it was at Christmas time, it was the high. This was the peak after the beginning of the year, and then we've come back with today's activity, the overnight activity, into that level again, and we kind of sold off. Now we've not got a nice little kind of sell-off pattern on the high side here. That's showing potentially kind of just a lack of demand at these levels. This was showing the strength of the selling going forward today. You know, it wasn't, it was a big decline today, but in terms of selling volume, it wasn't as extreme as the volume that came in on the Friday. And now we've come back up into under 1840, which has been a key level that we've been kind of messing around with. We broke through it, and then we kind of, you know, tested back up to it a few times. Now we're underneath it again with all these blue professional bars. Okay, some of that is end of day stuff, kind of just closing out trades, but some of that is professionals kind of taking profits, getting short. So the confirmation is a breakthrough today's low through this kind of 26 level down here. If that goes tomorrow, most likely, I mean, I wouldn't give this much time. This has got to turn around, yeah, within a day and a half, I'd have thought, to get us confirmation that this is the last roll of the dice, the last opportunities for the professionals to kind of get short and kind of you know, take this thing down. They weren't on this time frame. The professionals were not, you know, picking it up at the lows here. They were picking it up on the retrace, and that whole move back is, you know, kind of stinks of kind of manipulation, if you like, kind of getting it back up here. They crashed it through this support level, made good money on the way down, and then forced it all the way back. So everybody that was short has had to cover, and they're wondering what the hell's going on. So we've got all these blue professional bars coming in at the end of the day. So we need to see this breaking through the low of that kind of congestion zone, which would be a, you know, kind of 33 to 30, breaking through there and then through 26 and so on, and then, you know, we could be into a really serious kind of downtrend. So it's taken a long time kind of topping out, but, you know, this ramp up overnight, which was, you know, just manufactured, you know, into this 44 level, just to get everybody kind of freaked out, and then they just took it down, and now they've moved it back into another area where you're thinking, wow, is that just a spike down and we're just going to consolidate here and break into an uptrend? My feeling is no, again because of the yen and the bond chart. I think people are taking profits in equities, and the dollar index is starting to weaken. They're getting out and they're putting their money into bonds, and they're kind of just taking profits in equities. So that's my overall kind of thesis. Day to day, let's take the signals as they come. But it was good trading today, and I think this is kind of an important day going forward. Now, I'm going to roll through the FX charts just really quickly because, again, see some things kind of happening here that I think are very important. To some extent, kind of just in my mind, there's a little bit more confirmation of the video I put out on Sunday about the multi-markets, global macro type stuff. So first of all, dollar index. I think we could be seeing this is a false breakout on dollar index. You can see daily chart. We didn't get through the resistance level kind of nicely into a blue professional up bar, breaking, jumping the creek and kind of getting this thing going. It weakened today, and I think we could have dollar weakness, and that could be one of the reasons why the equity market is weakening as well. Canadian dollar. Now this was unbelievable. So there was a story today. I'm just going to pull this up really quickly. This is Business Insider. They're great guys. I love reading their stuff. They put a huge amount of effort into their site. It's an awesome site. But it does have a particular bias, as does Zero Hedge. They all have biases, and I do. Everybody does. Have kind of biases. But when I saw this morning, my news feeds, trading days kind of starting up. This is early on in the day. The Canadian dollar is tanking. And this chart, the inverted chart of the Canadian dollar. It's like, oh yeah, is the Canadian dollar really tanking? Because I think that the commodity currencies, Aussie dollar and Canadian dollars, are starting to find areas of support. They've sold off pretty hard, and I think they're going to go for a little bit of a bounce. So big story like that on Business Insider. The Canadian dollar is tanking, blah blah blah, and yeah, it started off really badly, but we ended up with a long-legged doji pattern today. So you can see the open and close very similar. We've got relatively high range on either side. We're putting in, this is coming back to maybe a little divergence pattern here, having had the blue professional bars exhaustion selling on a left shoulder type move. So I actually think God bless them. It's like they do work hard at their business, but they can actually be manipulated as well. I hope to hell no one kind of gave them a story and said, oh, you should, someone who's kind of long Canadian dollar, saying you should really talk about, or wants to get long Canadian dollar, you should talk about it tanking and kind of get the general public to be selling down, because I see support in the Canadian dollar and the Aussie dollar. Not quite yet, we're below support here on the weekly and the daily, but putting in pullback to end of trends. Let me just show you on the Aussie dollar kind of next. So Aussie dollar had a bit of strength here. Now this is putting in pullback to end of trend. I actually had some business in USD that I kind of moved into Aussie dollar today because the timing was right. So I've actually kind of taken profits on my short Aussie trade in effect in that kind of currency move. We're coming back down to areas where we have pullback to end of trend, so we're testing back into here. Psychologically, this is very hard. This was another fantastic short opportunity up here at 97 because we had that blue professional bar, and we've had a good 10-point kind of sell-off since then. But on this chart, we've had our exhaustion selling on a left shoulder bullish divergence, waiting for the flush pattern. This is pretty extreme. I'm not sure if it's going to go exhaustion or flush kind of here, but we're putting pullback to end of trend blue professional bars. I think this has run pretty hard, so that's why I kind of got out of my effectively short Aussie trade. Because I think this is a good place to be taking profits, and I think we could get a little bit of a bounce in the commodity markets. British pound's going nicely my way. Everybody who kind of called me out and said, "No, the pound's going down." No. We're making pullback and blue professional bar, through some highs. So let's see if we this is a gathering pattern, kind of waiting to jump into new, kind of annual highs for the British pound. So let's wait and see on that one. Euro's coming with the blue professional bar kind of sold off here. Remember, it's the largest component of the dollar index. I think the dollar index could be starting to weaken. That was a false breakout. This potentially was a false breakout in the euro. So let's see tomorrow. If we get continuation tomorrow, break the highs of this, things kind of go above 36, that would be interesting for kind of confirmation that the euro is still strengthening. Japanese yen, again, have been saying, we've traveled a long way this way. We've got cyclical pullback to put in at some point, but blue professional bar come in this range where we, the professionals seemingly were, anxious to get on board this thing. So again, breaking the high of today will be a significant day here. That could be a flush pattern kind of lining up here. Then we put in our pullback to end of trend. So just look for that on the Japanese yen kind of going up. And their false breakout in dollar index. So it's unconfirmed, but in the next day or two we'll get a lot more clarity as to what's happening in the currencies. But overall, I'm saying we could be having a little bit of reversal of these kind of trending moves. And then on the markets, so I've shown you that bonds continue to break up through resistance here. They kind of bought it up and they've kept on going. So let's see if we're going to have a strong day through the highs on bonds. If the equity market tanks and everybody jumps into bonds, big blue professional bar breaking, jumping the creek, kind of going up. Let's wait and see. Silver and gold, again, at the beginning of the day everybody's talking about silver and gold tanking. So I said wait, it's too early, we've still got to put in pullback to end of trend, but it's looking good. So this is coming back down as a weak kind of bar into those blue professional bars. Who knows if we're going to go to 19 kind of again, but we just got to wait our time here, pullback to end of trend. So it's just kind of waiting on that. Gold, it actually ended up after being a bit of a sell-off day in the morning. It didn't go very far. Blue professional bar there. So let's wait and see. We're putting in same thing, pullback to end of trends, a little bit of kind of sharp selling. It's just a little bit too early, but as soon as those end of trends go off on gold and silver, then that starts to get really interesting for me. And then here's copper. So copper, I'm looking for 37 to close above it. Blue professional bar, nice little range here. Kind of the volume was nice and elevated. So we need continuation tomorrow. We need to break the highs of today. We need to get into those high 30s, and then we're away into an uptrend on copper. And crude, so pull back to a dirty end of trend. Crude's showing some support here after a flush pattern. I just want some testing back down. This because we broke to new lows. We need to just test back into, have some amateur down bar type days, or maybe pick it up with blue professional down bars and break the highs. So just want a little bit more confirmation on crude. And there's the cyclical support on the Emini chart. So there we go. These aren't calls at the moment, but what I'm saying is they will become calls when the patterns confirm themselves over the next 2 or 3 days trading, as we get kind of confirmation that these things are happening. And part of that kind of whole story is that the equities, the Emini, does actually kind of start its decline. So we know where the numbers in the sand are. Start breaking those, then we're into kind of a whole heap of changes in trend and a whole bunch of markets kind of rolling together. So I'm kind of excited because I'd like to kind of see that. But if we start breaking to new highs tomorrow, I'm going to have to rethink the timing of a lot of these calls. Who knows? So take it day by day, just see what kind of sets up. And I hope you did trade well today. And apologies if I'm a little overexcited, but it's just one of those days when it's like you really enjoy what's kind of going on. So let's see if it starts to work to plan. No, just reverse. Went short 150, 41.50. Checking stops and targets. So just lost a 3/4 of a point on that last long trade. Just didn't want to work out. So we went for a double top at 44. Blue professional bar come in. I mean, we'd done all the good stuff. Pull back to end of trend on the 500. Pull back to end of trend. And now this sequence of 2 blue professional bars, one on 1500, we were dropping through support, kind of following through there. So might have just jumped in a fraction early. Hopefully we don't crack up through the highs of these, and that was just freaking people out. Okay, I'm at a down bar. It's just trying to find that reversal point. It's weak because we come through support, but we've not gone for a full-blown exhaustion pattern during the full liquidity of the day. Okay, here we go. We're on our way. So that was just a little amateur testing sequence there. Just back up into 42. So we're breaking now solidly below support in 500. So that takes us into a trend move here. And this should run until we get cyclical support on 4500. Come on. Don't bounce back. So where are we going with this? to me this just stunk. I think this is like Fako kind of overnight stuff. So as soon as that's maybe kind of realized, this thing could travel. Come on. Well, at least that's going to put in cyclical support here, so that means the bottom of this range here at 41, which is low for the day, will be breaking through two cyclical supports at the same time, so that'll be good for a stronger trend move. So let's just hold on. Okay, here we go. That was just amateur testing bar, another one, a whole series here on 500, one on 15, just testing back into 42, and then the blue professional bar kind of comes in, so they're selling it down again, and the lows are getting broken. So now we've got a support here on 1500 that gets broken. We're into a bigger move on the way down. So we've just been stuck in this 41. Here we go, 41-44 range. So that was the high, the low, double top. It was a bit of a double bottom. We bounced off it, and now we're through it. So let's get the show on the road. 3750. It's okay as a target. Whoa. Okay, just move my target out at 3650. We'll see if we get another continuation of this run on the downside. Support's coming on 500. Exhaustion, selling, pro signal exit come in here, but the average trade size was pretty high. But this surely is falling through the ice and getting the move going. Let's see. Let's break to new lows. We're at 875. We've got to go pull back to end of trend on the 500 and put in bullish divergence. So let's drop through here and just see how much selling comes in. 750, the original target just got hit. Coming down, leaving the target at 650 just on this kind of move down. Probably end up being bullish divergence on 500, so it's an area where we might get a little bit of a bounce. Got cyclical support in here. So come on, 650. No blue professional bars yet, the lows. Probably getting out too early, but bingo, just out, 650.45. Excellent. And it's keeping going because there's no blue professional bars kind of going. Okay, there was the first one on 500. So, should I be waiting for a pullback to end of trend sequence on 500 to kind of squeeze more out? Probably. But at some point we'll get a bounce back up because we've got cyclical support on 4500. This could be bullish divergence kind of come in here. So there's probably more in it, but let's just wait and see.